Okay, this video is going to be about when the fool meets the charioteer, number 7. Last we looked at the lovers. But before we get to that, I want to mention one thing, and that is I'd like to try an experiment of me doing a reading for you, whoever you happen to be. We don't know each other, but I'm interested to see how this would work. And so what I have in mind is today's the 26th of June, and between now and this will go on YouTube tonight. And so between now and the 7th of July, 2009, I'd like to do, okay, if you want me to do a reading for you, it's not going to be free. It's going to cost $3. And you pay PayPal $3 to bllntr@yahoo.com. I'll put that on screen. And so I'm going to choose 3 cards. And so if you have a question that you want me to answer, email me the question or put it in the PayPal payment area. If you want to ask a question but don't want to tell me what the question is, that's okay. I'll still answer the question. But tell me you've got a silent question. If you don't have any question in mind, tell me you don't have any question, and I'll choose 3 cards. One for you in the past, you in the present, and you in the future. And for answering a question, I'll do the same. A silent question or a question I know about, past, present, and future. I'm going to add a sentence or two after recording because I forgot to mention that I'll do the reading and record it and convert it to an MP3 file and email it to the people who ask the questions. So rather than put something out, I'm going to speak it. But the thing is, I'd like you to give me feedback. And so depending on what I tell you, if you can email me or send me a telephone number and I'll call you and we can have a little bit of discussion about how much sense it made, how it worked, how it didn't work. And because I'd kind of like to begin to put together a database where, let's say, the Chariot comes up and I can give, let's say, 8 or 10 instances where the Chariot came up in a reading and what it actually meant. And I think that would be quite useful. Instead of the theory that you get in the books, I think it would be interesting and useful to have actual meanings that happen for particular people, and they give their feedback. So that's my thought. If anybody wants to take me up on the offer, by all means ask a question or not. And so this little bit of introduction is here, and I'll take it down after the 7th of July. Okay, so at this point we have the Chariot. The fool is on his way, and he's met the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the last person he met was the lovers, or the last card that he came across was the lovers. And let's say that he's told by the lovers, be sure that you're at crossroads in your life, and so when you find yourself in a position where you can go one way or the other, think carefully before you make a decision and commit yourself to one path or the other. And then the lovers send him on his way, and then he meets the Chariot. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the Charioteer, because I sometimes wonder, is it the Chariot, which is this vehicle here, or really should the card be called the Charioteer? Because is it about the person doing the driving, or is it about the vehicle that carries you along? Do you know what I mean? Because maybe because this is such a solid cube here and so heavy, we've got wheels so it can move, but sphinxes that really they're not that strong, I would imagine, that can pull a chariot like horses or oxen. Maybe the Chariot is about the fact that you find yourself in circumstances, and it's the circumstances that will pull you along. And so the individual maybe isn't that able to make decisions about what's going to happen and how things are going to go. Because maybe with this card, it's the condition that you're in that determines what will happen rather than your individual choices. So I mentioned I think somewhere, I think this is a really difficult card. And I sort of, whenever it comes up in a reading, I think, oh no, why do we have to get the Chariot? Because I think it is a difficult card to understand. And I can always say something sensible, I hope, about the card, but it's as if I don't have a connection with it the way that I have a connection with the other card, with the other major trumps. It's like I know them and I know what to say about them, but if there's one card that makes me stop and have to rethink things, I would say it's the Chariot here, or the Chariot. And so if we look, I'd like to compare this and this, because look here, you've got a man and a woman and an angel and a triangular shape. And here we've got two sphinxes and a person, or maybe it's the two wheels and a person. But either way, you've got a triangular shape again and a triangular shape here. Whereas in the Lovers card, we've got people here and an angel above. It's like the higher self, we could say, is in control, or is attempting to guide the people, or the people ought to look to the higher self, or they ought to look within if they're going to make a correct decision. Whereas with the Charioteer or the Chariot, it's like the people are being replaced by sphinxes or by wheels. But the interesting thing, I think, is that the angel here, right, has been replaced by a person. And so, is this telling us that with the Chariot card, with number 7, human beings can be like the angel here? That human beings have great possibilities. They have powers that we don't normally think about. We have abilities that we might think we don't possess, but we actually do. And is this card, when it comes up, is this pointing out, this is what you can be? You're not limited by normal expectations that people have of life. Because, you know, most people think, you know, you're in life, you suffer for a bit and then you die. And that's sort of like most people's life. Whereas you get somebody like Mozart or Beethoven or I don't know, even Paul McCartney and John Lennon, who lived like an awful lot of lifetimes within one. A lot happened to them. They achieved a lot. And maybe with the Chariot card, we should raise our expectations and think, wait a minute, I can be more than other people think I can be. And so we should have high hopes and high expectations. This is card number 7, and I'd like to mention there are 7 days in the week, and it's a bit. I kind of like that. The fact that 7 in its own way is a number of completion, because you get 1 week and then the beginning of a new week. But in some way, this represents completion. A week is a week, and it's a sort of complete period of time. And it's a bit like, it's a complete cycle. And so with number 8, the next card, we're going to be beginning a new cycle. And so maybe the Charioteer tells the Fool, at this point, finish things up. Don't begin a new cycle with things left undone. You're better to hold off on making a fresh start and get everything fixed up and get everything in order. Because if you don't, then you're going to have trouble in the next cycle. So it's a bit like finish up what you've got or what you've begun rather than start something new with unfinished business. And so if the Fool says to them with the Charioteer, give me some advice, as he says to the Hierophant and the Emperor and the Empress, maybe the Charioteer's advice is this idea, finish up and get things done before you move on to new things. And if you do that, you'll be in a stronger position to build new things in the new cycle. Okay, I'm running out of time here, I think. The cube here, in the next video, well, I'm going to, the next major trump is going to be number 8, but in the next, I'm going to show you this, a 3-dimensional because a cube has 6 sides, I'm going to show you a 3-dimensional spread that is phenomenal, but that'll be a separate video on its own.